How's it going, everyone? We're here with the Inside the Locker Room crew for episode 26. We're going to talk a little bit of NFL Week 5 that just happened last week. Got Thursday Night Football about to start in a few minutes. And then I'm going to do a little rundown of the MLB playoffs so far. And then we're going to talk a little bit about NHL and NBA season starting real soon, or NHL season already started. So without any further ado, first of all, Rattler, very impressive this past week, outdueling Jackson Dart. Michael, floor is yours.
All right. I'm first of all, I'm proud of Spencer Rattler for not only staying focused, but being dialed in. Leading the offense. That's not an easy job for a starting quarterback. But if you look at his interviews, he's been locked in. He's felt comfortable, and he's only going to get more and more comfortable with the offense as the season goes along. So he has the potential of leading this drive and hopefully turning the tables around, guys. But Spencer Rattler of New Orleans Saints outdueled New York Giants rookie quarterback Jackson Dart. The Saints defeated the Giants 26-14, with Rattler securing his first victory, as I said before, in his NFL career, while Dart had a difficult, outing with, turnovers. Key highlights. Spencer Rattler, first NFL win. Rattler, who began his NFL career with an 0-10 record as a starter, finally secured a victory. Number 2, efficient passing. He finished the game with 21 completions of 31 attempts for 225 yards and 1 touchdown with no turnovers. I think that's a big, huge step as you go in the right direction, especially going into this season. Deep strike. It's 87-yard touchdown pass to my wide receiver. Rashid Shaheed was the longest of his young career and helped erase an early 14-3 deficit. A lot of people told me that, man, we down 14-3, it's over with. That tell you right there, y'all need to, have a little bit more faith than what you say you do. I'm talking to Saints fans on this one. Jackson Dart, turnover trouble. Dart and the Giants offense struggled with turnovers, committing 5 consecutive turnovers, 2 interceptions, 3 fumbles. That swung momentum in the Saints' favor. Mixed performance. While he threw 2 touchdown passes, his overall performance was hammered by turnovers. But, I kind of have to give Jackson Dart the benefit of the doubt. He did well. He'll learn from this. I believe this is his first start in the NFL, so he'll only get better. It's don't lose faith in Dart. If Giants fans, don't lose faith in Dart, because I believe he'll do a lot better than Russell Wilson. And finally, welcome to the NFL moment. Coming off a win in his first career start, this was more challenging outing for the rookie quarterback. And by challenging outing for rookie quarterback, I'm talking about Jackson Dart. But again, I will say this again, he will get better. Now, as far as what the Giants and how this season goes, I mean, that's up to the coaching staff. But I'm proud of Spencer Rattler, and I'm proud of Jackson Dart, of how both of those guys played. It was a very great showing.
Yeah, I think it was more how impressive Spencer Rattler was than, how poor Jackson Dart was. Came out with the opening touchdown, looked really good again. I thought they were about to win by a landslide. Instead, the script flipped in the second half. Defense looked really, really good with forcing those 2 turnovers. So, super happy for you and the entire Saints fan base. And Rattler, he looked sharp. There's all those passes are crisp. He's anytime there's room in front of him, he's taking the rushing lane and picking up the yards, picking up first downs with his legs, which there's one thing I didn't know about him. I knew he had the arm talent. I didn't know that he was quite this good with his legs. He's not gonna like Lamar Jackson out there, but he's picking up all the necessary yardage that is available. And shout out to Rashid Shaheed for running the fastest touchdown, hit the highest miles per hour, because it's kind of cool. They they put microchips in all the players' shoulder pads, which is how they track it with next gen stats nowadays.
I didn't know.
I only know Scott Hansen. Shout out Scott Hansen. That's the only reason I know that. That's a random fact. Ben, you want to chime in here? You want to jump into Jaguars and Chiefs?
I mean, I could talk about the Giants for a little bit. I mean, I feel like also with the Saints, I wrote on my power rankings article this week, like for the past couple weeks, they've been, the easy team to beat for most people. But, like, Spencer Rattler, as we said, he looked poised, out there on the field. But for the Giants' sake, I think, what really blew the game for them was also the turnovers made by, Cam Scadaboo and then also Jackson Dart, like we said. Those just changed the game's momentum completely. For the first half, I thought the Giants were hanging around still and was still like a close game for the most part. But yeah, no, those fumbles killed them. And then ultimately, we'll see what they do tonight against Philadelphia here shortly. But on Thursday night, the Giants have a really poor record, and then Philadelphia has a really good record on Thursday night. So yeah, and then going into the Jaguars Chiefs game, I mean, hey, Jaguars have proved me wrong. Can't lie. They're like one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now, and they took down KC to end the week last week. And we saw that 1 yard touchdown by Trevor Lawrence after falling down. That was crazy. And
Wild,
we also
absolutely wild.
saw Travis Hunter, the Travis Hunter we've been waiting for. He had a big catch, late in the game, and still on both sides of the ball, competing at a very high level. What do you guys think about the Chiefs Jaguars game? I thought it was pretty cool, considering I think that like this year will be kind of a year where it's like anybody's year. Like I don't know if you guys remember the old graphic with like Bortles and Brady when he was still on the Patriots. Like that was a crazy year for playoffs because we had Case Keenum leading the
Yeah,
Vikings at the time.
it was a
So
wild,
Yeah.
wild time to be
I
alive.
feel like it'll
Yeah,
be like another one of those years possibly because like we have Daniel Jones in top five and like Dak top five passing leaders. But it's still early in the season, but we'll see. But yeah, what do you guys think about that Jags game?
I think honestly, like shout out to Devin Lloyd. Jaguars came into the game leading the NFL in turnovers, and they didn't stop against the Chiefs. He's leading the league in interceptions with four, and he's a middle linebacker. He's already had very good seasons tackling. He's having a full on breakout. It's just like you can tell he's watching film because the Chiefs like to do this tape because he just jumped the route. He was in the middle of the defense, and then he actually over pursued, and then had to kind of reach back because he was running so fast to get to the spot. But he caught it, returned it 99 yards for the pick. That's probably the biggest play of the game. Of course, it came down to the wire. The Chiefs didn't go away. Patrick Mahomes looked pretty good overall, other than a couple mistakes here and there. Xavier Worthy, second game back, he looked pretty solid, but at the same time, he had to leave with injury a couple times. But yeah, I don't think the Chiefs necessarily lost this game. I think the Jaguars just won this game, and yeah, like that was one of the craziest 1 yard touchdowns you'll ever see, falling down and then um, somehow breaking two tackles and then getting into the left side of the end zone. And one thing I'll point out as well, Chris Jones, he's a great player. Sometimes he's been in defensive player of the year talks, but he kind of blew it on that play because I mean, maybe that was his role of initially to back up and then just kind of watch the play because it was developing the left side. But then he just completely gave up. He tried to take an angle to the right side, to his right. It was play side's left. Then he would have been right at the proper spot to take down Lawrence before he got into the end zone. So lost in the game, and he's their best defensive player. So not what you want to see, and Andy Reid was not happy about it. Chris Jones actually just deactivated all of his social media after that because he's been
Dang.
getting so much flack for it.
Yeah, it's crazy, but I mean, you can't give up on the play, and I mean, what you expect. I mean, it's crazy that someone caught that because I didn't the first time I saw the highlight of Trevor Lawrence and touchdown. But to break it down, the game winning drive, after the Chiefs took a 28-24 lead with less than 2 minutes left, Trevor Lawrence led the Jaguars on a 60-yard drive. I think that's impressive. As an offensive guy myself, when you can lead an offense down the field within 2 minutes left, 2 minute drive practices. That's what they call it.
Hmm.
Evidently, they practice that, and sometimes practice makes perfect. Sometimes it doesn't. It just really depends on game time situations, and they conquered that situation. The drive included a crucial 33-yard pass to Brian Thomas Jr.,
Shout out
who
to him for finally showing up when it mattered
yeah,
most.
I think Brian Thomas is his baller effect is starting to come up. You know, you kind of wish it came up a lot sooner, but you know, in reality, sometimes you know some ballers start out slower than faster, or some players start out faster and slower. It just determines the mindset. But to finish off what I was just saying, like I said, the 33-yard pass to Brian Thomas Jr. Uh, Lawrence scored the go-ahead touchdown, which I'm gonna get to that in just a second. But actually, this is my next one. On that play, Lawrence stumbled after getting up. Now, I seen the video where it was a Jaguar fan. He's like, "Oh my gosh!" And then when he looked up, Lawrence scored. He was like, "Okay." Like that. That's literally how it was with me. I'm like, "Oh, I ain't never seen it like that." I'm like, "Okay." So I'm gonna share my mom then. But you know, Lawrence stumbled after getting up from a near interception, but received, you know, recovered to score, which is a highlight of his determination of, you know, just how, you know, poised that Lawrence can be. Next thing, Jaguars defensive impact. Like you just said, Adam, Devin Lloyd's 99-yard interception return for a touchdown in the third quarter was a pivotal moment that flipped the momentum of the game and gave the Jaguars their first lead. You know, when we say all the time, a lot of coaches say this all the time that, you know, when an opportunity comes up, you know, you take it, and that could be the turning point, or it cannot be. And evidently, that interception was the turning point for the Jaguars team, and they fed off that going into the rest of the game. Jaguars defense consistently applied pressure on Patrick Mahomes, contributing to key turnovers and stops. It just shows you that, you know, Jaguars defense, Kansas City offense in general, that, you know, they have wrinkles. You just have to find it. Every team has a wrinkle. Stat leaders, Trevor Lawrence completed 18 of 25 passes for 221 yards, one touchdown, one interception. Not bad. Adding 54 rushing yards and
Yeah, it was
two
the
rushing.
rushing. It was the rushing. All those rushing
You know,
yards. That was what won the game. He picked up so many first downs, and then yeah, the game-winning touchdown.
you know, I keep when I look at Trevor Lawrence, I'm like, he's not really that mobility guy. You know, sometimes you can't really sleep on a player. Just because they're in the pocket don't mean they can't run. You know, it's just sometimes that running isn't always going to be available. And in this game, it was for Trevor Lawrence. Patrick Mahomes threw for 318 yards, one touchdown, also rushing for a team high 60 yards and one touchdown. You know, Patrick Mahomes will always be elite. That's just, you know, he's struggling right now, but that's just how reality works, you know. But do I think the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes will pick up from this? For sure. It's just a beginning. So, I
Well,
mean,
the crazy part is I don't think it's Patrick Mahomes struggling because numbers wise, he's putting up like top two, top three quarterback numbers. Usually, the last few years, the people are saying, "Oh, Mac Mahomes is not him anymore. Like he's getting carried by that defense. He got carried by the defense to the Super Bowl." But he's putting up really good numbers. He did have the turnovers,
without a doubt,
but
yeah.
yeah,
But
overall, he's looking good.
but I will say this. Shout out to Jaguars fans because this victory, and here it is. I think this is the turning point right here. The victory ended a 8-game losing streak for the Jaguars against the Chiefs, making it their first win over Kansas City since 2009, guys. That's a long darn time.
That's crazy. Yeah,
So I think
first
that
time in 9 meetings, I think.
right direction for Jaguars Nation, especially beating Kansas City. And I know how it is to beat a team that you just can't stand. Trust me, I totally get it. So, you know, shout out to Jaguars fans, and I'm hoping that, you know, Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr. and, you know, shout out to my guy Travis Hunter. You know, he made a crucial catch. You know, he's gonna get more and more better as the season goes along. So, you know, I think Jaguars might have a chance to be playoff potential.
Travis Hunter became the first player to ever have the highest rating on offense and defense for a team in the Pro Football Focus era. So
Crazy.
pretty crazy. He like the his college coaches or Deion Sanders. He says that he gets better the more he plays on both sides, and they finally
For sure.
kind of let him loose
Yep.
to be the Travis Hunter he can be, and he proved that he can do it, and he did it against arguably one of the best teams in football. Maybe not at the moment, but Chiefs are still for real. But moving into the next game, 49ers stunned the Rams in OT. And honestly, are the 49ers true contenders is a question I want to ask you guys. If Ben, if you want to start that off, if you want to break down the game or just answer the question in general, if you think the 49ers are true contenders.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting to kind of, I guess, a confusing little controversy here because we also have like Brock Purdy still, making his way back from injury. So, the 49ers, they completed their divisional, win against the Rams last week, late in the game. But it's going to be confusing, I think, for me, which quarterback to start because, the 49ers, they keep winning with Mac Jones. He looked very good, by the way, especially last game, even after getting hit multiple times. Still kept his composure and won the game for the Niners. But yeah, I just think it's going to be confusing with Brock Purdy coming back. Like, which quarterback do you play? Like for the Rams side of things, Sean McVay, he was very, starstruck and was upset that he took that field goal in the game instead of, going for that touchdown. And eventually, bit them in behind late in the game. But yeah, that's what I thought personally. And I think it's just going to be a little confusing for them to pick between the two.
From what I've heard, from what Adam Schefter has been reporting, he says there's no quarterback controversy. They will go to Purdy when it's time. I think maybe what will happen is they're just gonna Purdy is still hurt, so I think they might just give him these extra weeks with that turf toe, which turf toe doesn't heal unless you take like the rest of the season off. So that's gonna be a nagging injury for him the rest of the way. So maybe give him an extra. I mean, he's not going to start this week, and maybe give him another like 2 or 3 weeks. Then George Kittle should be back by then as well. Purdy loves George Kittle, so I think that could be a recipe for success. Random stat is the 49ers the only team in the NFL without a rushing touchdown, which is just baffling considering they're 4-1. But obviously, Christian McCaffrey is a huge weapon in the receiving room as a running back, so he's getting receiving touchdowns. And I mean, Mac Jones is finding a way to. He made Kendrick Bourne look like literally like Jerry Rice this past game. He had 11 targets, 10 catches, and I think like 140 yards. I don't have the exact stats, but I think that's pretty close. So I mean, very, very impressive by the 49ers. I'll give them full credit, even though the Rams did shoot themselves in the foot a little bit. Kyron Williams had that crucial fumble, and then of course we've got the 4th and 1 at the very end of the game where McVay decided to go for it instead of kicking the field goal to tie, which I think is the right call. However, I would prefer to have an outside run. I would prefer to have Puka on a drag route, slant route, just find a way to not just run into the wall of defenders. Because, I mean, it was the 49ers called a timeout first, and then the Rams called a timeout. So at that point, it was just kind of like a stalemate of like you're seeing what the offense and defense is giving you, and then you just do like a straight up run up the middle where you have Fred Warner right there just pushing through the line, and then they got a lot of other big guys that were all there to stop it. But yeah, Michael, thoughts on the game? Also, I did skip Bucks and Seahawks, so we'll go back to that one.
I want to say for the 2025 season, the San Francisco 49ers status as true contenders is a mixed picture. The overtime victory against the Los Angeles Rams in Week 5 highlighted their resilience and depth on that team, particularly with key players sidelined. However, an alarming and persistent pattern of significant injury raises questions about their ability to sustain a high-level performance throughout the season and into the playoffs. Like I said, first point, resilience and depth. The win against the Rams was a testament to the team's depth and grit. They won a crucial division matchup despite missing key players, demonstrating that they can find ways to win even when shorthanded. And I know how it is to be shorthanded. As a Saints fan, we stay being shorthanded. And I think we can all agree on here, from the Seahawks to the Jets, when your team is shorthanded, it's next man up mentality. At the end of the day, strong overall record. At 4-1, following the victory, the 49ers are among the best team, one of the best teams in the NFL and lead their division. Their ability to win games under pressure shows that they can perform in crunch time. Number 3, talented, skilled players. The offense is still dangerous, with an elite talent like running back Christian McCaffrey, who I feared every time when he was with the Panthers. I feared him when we played 49ers. I feared him. Who continues to perform at a high level. Backup quarterback Mac Jones, like y'all just talked about, also showed promise against the Rams, suggesting that the offense can function effectively even without Brock Purdy. 4. Coaching excellence. Shanahan and the coaching staff have proven track record of getting the most out of their players. The team's ability to adapt and win despite the injuries points to strong coaching. You won't have a successful season if you don't have a successful coaching staff.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan's coaching his butt off. I mean, I don't think they're 4-1. I think they're maybe a 1-4 team, 2-2 team if they don't have a guy like Kyle Shanahan.
Right, exactly. And it just shows you that, if you don't have a successful coaching staff, you're not just our team, you're not going to have a successful season. Number 4, final thing, improve betting odds. I know you guys, do your fantasy stuff like that, so this topic is basically for y'all. Their strong start has positively influenced their Super Bowl betting odds, raising from the preseason despite of the injury issues. I think the 49ers are in the right spot to possibly become playoff contenders. But like I said, injuries, either they're going to play a factor or they're not. But this game against the Rams proved that it doesn't. But, you have to take it game by game. So it's only going to determine just how long will the backup guys who stepped up to the plate against the Rams, how long will that last? And not only that, how long will the coaching staff prove that we know how to plan for things like this when things happen? Yeah, like I said, the only question remains is that how long will this success last? And will the 49ers be able to carry on these winning moments like against the Rams throughout the season? And if they can do that, then yes, they're possible playoff contenders. But as of right now, it's kind of mixed. You don't really know. And I'm not going to give out my prediction, but their odds of being playoff contenders is in the step in the right direction. I'm not saying they're not.
I mean, I think they would have to really, really blow a lot of games in a row to not make the playoffs. They do coming into the season. They based it off last year's win percentage, but they did come into the season with the easiest schedule of any NFL team. However, they're playing the Bucks on the road. I know I picked the Bucks. I think the majority of us picked the Bucks. I think someone did pick the 49ers. Maybe it was you, Michael. But either way, it's a tough test. We're gonna see if they're for real. Especially with all those injuries. I think as the season goes on, they're going to really start missing a guy like Nick Bosa, who's not coming back. He's out for the year already. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. But moving back to the Bucks and Seahawks that I skipped, I mean, what a game, first of all. Unfortunately, the Seahawks couldn't come up with the win, but it was an absolutely thrilling matchup. And I'll just start with, do you guys think Baker is leading the MVP race right now?
I mean, it's definitely going to be hard, in my opinion, to, I guess, put him in the same category right now, like this exact moment, as like a Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. And, obviously Lamar is not even, I think, in the MVP race at all right now because, he's out right now with a hamstring injury. It's not to take away from what Baker's been doing so far this season. A couple years ago, I remember when he came into Carolina randomly, people were calling him, that he shouldn't even be in the league, that after he was out of Cleveland, that his career was basically over. But, Baker, time and time again, keeps coming out on top, keeps having clutch games. I think also Emeka Egbuka is making a super strong case for Offensive Rookie of the Year. And, if there was just a Rookie of the Year award in general, I feel like he would get that at this point in the season. He's been cooking every single week against every single team, no matter their defense, no matter the cornerback against him. So he's had a really strong campaign so far. And, I think the Bucks could go really far in the playoffs this year. But as far as, like, Baker's, like, league-wide MVP, I'm not sure if I'm ready for that just yet.
Michael, thoughts on MVP?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Benji on this one. I'm going to say no. Baker Mayfield is not leading the NFL in the race. and I'm not saying that I'm not being biased. I'm just saying that, but he has entered the conversation and is considered a legitimate MVP candidate. But currently holding the third best odds behind Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, he has a strong case to do. He has a strong case due to leading the NFL with four fourth quarter comebacks and four game winning drives, among with 10 touchdowns and just one interception through week 5. Where does Mayfield rank in this one? If you would ask me, third in MVP odds. Okay, a recent uh Heroics basically said that Mayfield has risen to have the third shortest odds in winning the MVP award. Right, he's a rising fast. Second point, he has jumped into top 4 MVP odds, with some analysts placing him among the league's top candidates. Second question, why he's in running? Well, clutch performance. Mayfield's ability to lead his team in comebacks and deliver game-winning drives has been a key factor in his MVP case and in Buck's lifespan as of winning games. Because honestly, if it wasn't for Baker Mayfield and the offense that's starting to rise, the Bucks really wouldn't be where they are right now. Strong statistics. Final thing, his performance through Week 5 included 379 passing yards, right? 2 touchdowns, contributing to a season total of 10 touchdowns and only 1 interception. He's going in the right direction, but it's kind of too early to call him as the face of the MVP race. It's just too soon for that. I'm not saying he does not have the potential. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's just too soon to call that because Josh Allen is still hot. Okay.
I think Josh Allen's firmly in the mix, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'll go out on a limb. If I was a voter today, I would vote for Baker Mayfield purely because when he's trailing in games, he has 9 touchdowns to only 1 interception. He's him when he's trailing in a game. It doesn't matter if it's a 20-yard run that just runs through a linebacker in the secondary. Doesn't matter if it's throwing Ibuka wide open. But I mean Josh Allen's firmly in the mix too. I don't know what these betting odds are with Patrick Mahomes at second.
Yeah.
I think I swear that's just to I honestly don't get it at all. Like
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of like Mahomes lovers out there, but he's got to be like third, fourth,
Yeah.
fifth. Like I'd put Sam Darnold in front of Mahomes right now just because he has a better record and he's been the best deep passer so far.
Yeah.
But I think keys to that game are the fact that Seahawks were missing Devin Witherspoon. Julian Love was out of that game, so that's your top corner, your top safety. Nika Manwari was back from injury, but then he left with injury again and did not come back. So I think that was probably what cost the Seahawks in the end in a really, really high-scoring affair. They were, to me, the most impressive part is the Seahawks stayed in the game, and it went down to the wire at the very end, last-second field goal. But yeah, it was a really close game, and I mean, shout out to the Bucks 4-1, and I have the Bucks now. I have the Lions number 1 in my power rankings. I got Bills number 2, and I got Bucks number 3. So I think that's the other argument for why Baker does deserve to be at least top 2, if not like the top favorite for MVP right now, is just because he's been so good in every single game, and he's leading the Bucks too. I don't think most people had the Bucks as a top 3 team, maybe a top 10 team, but probably not top 3.
Top 5. And I'm gonna say this, even though they're 4-1, but it's gonna come to a point during the season that how long will the Baker Mayfield comeback effect come up? Because even though it's going well right now, but it's gonna be a point to where he's gonna be facing a really really tough defense, and the question is, you can be hungry for it, but at the same time, sometimes your hunger is not going to help you win much. Baker Mayfield, he has a hunger for winning. I'll give him that, but it's just going to turn to a point to where with that last, we still got full season left to go. So at the same time, it's how long will Baker Mayfield's poise and how long will the Bucks winning wise continue? Is the only thing. So without a doubt, Baker Mayfield is balling at a high level, and the comeback wins are showing that. But
Definitely has to sustain it. You got to sustain it
yeah, you got
the whole
to sustain it.
season. But I mean, at this point, yeah, I think he's firmly up there.
In the words of Drew
But
Brees, thing at a time. It's one game at a time. So it's just like it's gonna come to a point in the game where it's gonna come up short. Just saying.
They whooped them.
do you think the Ravens are going to make the playoffs? They have almost their entire slate of games versus their division still, and they should get Lamar Jackson back soon. So those head-to-head wins could be huge.
It's gonna be tricky, man, because we're already 5 weeks into the season, and who knows how long he's gonna be out for. More. I think he could. I think he's out again this week. He's not practicing again for the second time. So their defense also is just the hospital for another season. So I don't know what's going on with their trainers or what the heck's going on over there, but their defense is just banged up every single year. It's really frustrating, and I know it is for Baltimore and their fans. I don't know. Honestly, I think they could be a team that surprisingly doesn't make the playoffs this year. And I think they're going to have to start looking at their head coach and start, deciding, hey, after 13 years of his last Super Bowl, is he still the guy? And I think they might have to make a change at some point because they can't wait. They cannot waste and wait any much longer on Lamar because his timetable is right now to get a ring.
Michael, thoughts?
Yeah, despite the Strauss loss to the Texans, the Ravens still technically have a chance to make the playoffs, but their chances are very slim. Jackson's injury. Jackson is likely to play in Week 6 with the team by Week 7. He
Yeah, I
might
think
not.
week 8 he should be back.
Yeah. According to him, he might not return until Week 8. The Ravens have a record of 1-4 after the blowout loss to the Texans, and longer Jackson is out, the lower their odds will become. History is not on their side, and I wrote that down because since 1990, only 12 out of 174 teams with a 1-4 record have gone to make the playoffs. That's a 6.9% success. Okay, that's very low, which shows how difficult the road ahead is for Baltimore. And I'm basically just going to leave it off at that because, I will not count out the Ravens. I still think the Ravens have a chance to win the playoffs, but it just depends on how Lamar Jackson, how will he be back to 100%, regardless of the injury, because hamstring is a very serious injury. So, at the same time, it's just really determined on how well Lamar Jackson will be coming back. And that's
Especially,
just determined
yeah,
if they're, like I
especially
said,
as like a Russian quarterback too. Yeah, that's hammy is not the injury you want to have. I'll go out on a limb, and I think they're gonna join that very exclusive company, and they are gonna make the playoffs. I don't think it's gonna be division winner. I think the Steelers are almost looking like a lock at this point. But like I was saying before, the best thing they have going for them is they have almost all of their division games still remaining. So from that standpoint, if they can win all of those games, that's of course giving a loss to the other teams in the division every single one of those games. So I think maybe as like the 7 seed or maybe as high as the 6 seed, but I do think they'll limp into the playoffs. And then you don't know. They could make some noise. But the other thing worth mentioning is Derrick Henry's had some fumble issues. And he hasn't really looked like the same old Derrick Henry. Maybe father's time is catching up, but I don't think it's that. I think he's just got the yips a little bit right now. And I mean, when he fights through so much tackles, people are gonna come from all the different angles and just try to punch out the football because he's so hard to tackle. You're better off tackling the football, honestly, half the time. Moving on to Broncos game. Super impressive showing by the Broncos. Very close game, back and forth between the Broncos and Eagles, but in the end, the Broncos outlast the Eagles. And any thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles ended up blowing the lead. I still had them as number 1 in my power rankings, and that might be an unpopular opinion, but I feel like people need to remember, like, this is the Eagles' first loss in over 200 days, as a previous Super Bowl champion. So, it's not like they lost to a bad team either. They lost to the Denver Broncos, who I think are a top 10 team in the NFL, at least at this point.
Definitely.
They still have one of the top defenses, also containing Pat Surtain. He also had a nice game last game. And then yeah, the Broncos, they completely shut down Saquon, and they forced Jalen Hurts to start throwing the ball, which he did, but they still ended up losing the game. So I think it was a big win for Sean Payton and Bo Nix, and hopefully they can keep this up in a crowded AFC West division. But that division's not looking as hot as we initially thought. The Chiefs are looking a lot weaker this year, and even the Chargers are they dropped 2 games in a row recently, and they're hurting with Rashawn Slater and Joel out. So it's gonna be interesting to see if the Broncos can keep this up and come up top on their division. But I think they honestly can at this point.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think the I wrote this down. The key details of the comeback. Full quarter rally. Denver erased a 14-point deficit in the fourth quarter, scoring 18 points to take the lead. Uh, Another key plays. The Broncos offense scored on 3 consecutive possessions in the fourth quarter, which I think was the crucial turning point for the offense. J.K. Dobbins scored a critical 2-yard rushing touchdown in the period. Uh, Third thing, a costly late penalty on the Eagles. Zach Bond, who is my linebacker to this day, will always be a Saint. Helped the Broncos set up a go-ahead field goal. And last thing, Sean Payton and Bo Nix went for a 2-point conversion to seal the victory. Sean Payton, even though he's up in age without a doubt, a lot of people question Sean Payton's coaching ability. Does he still have it? And this game technically showed you that Sean Payton still has that winning, head coaching caliber. He's always had it. He's still that offensive mind, still offensive, not offensive, but just just the key, focus of a great coach. Sean Payton will always be a great coach to me. I'm gonna say this: Broncos performance, quarterback Bo Nix, receiver Cortland Sutton, and the defense all played vital roles in the comeback, with Nixon throwing for 242 yards and a touchdown, and the defense forcing key 3-and-outs, which, like I said, it's a turning point for the Broncos. Um, Despite of that, Eagles struggled. The Eagles were hammered by penalties and their inability to stop the Broncos offense in the fourth quarter. That basically shows you that you can't have a lot of penalties. It's not going to help you win the game. And they were a little sloppy, but, they'll pick up on that because the Eagles are still a great team, without a doubt. I just think that, like I said, in reality, sometimes you're going to have games like that. And the Eagles, they were hit with that. So, but I think the Eagles will pick up from that. Every team is going to have slates like this, penalties, injuries, miscommunication on defense and offense. That's just the turning point of the game. And if you're an educated, football person, you know that in games like this, it happens. It's just how will the team pick up from that. So I think the Eagles are going to pick up from this, and they'll definitely not have this slate again. But shout out to head coach Sean Payton and Bo Nix.
I'll keep it short and then move on to the next game. For me, the biggest thing was just the Eagles just don't look amazing on offense. It wasn't just this game; it's been kind of a problem the entire season. And the Broncos defense, and other defenses are keying in on it too. They're forcing Jalen Hurts to throw. When he did throw, he missed a wide open AJ Brown in the second half. It was a very crucial play. Probably Eagles would have won the game if that touchdown does happen. And the Broncos have a good one. Arguably the best defensive line, definitely top 5 defensive line in football. So they're going to force you to throw, and the Eagles weren't able to do the tush push. They didn't necessarily get in the position to do it. But Saquon Barkley also didn't have an amazing game. He had I think a nice receiving score down the sideline, but overall, I'll give the credit fully to the Broncos. But at the same time, I am a little bit worried about the Eagles. But I do think they'll round back in the form. I don't know what's happening in the game right now, but this is
13-3 already.
Okay, so I was gonna say this is the get right game for them against the Giants' not very good secondary and just flimsy defense in general. Yeah, so
plenty of time left.
It's lots of time.
Start. Yeah, it's
a crazy start. Turning point.
Big red flag, but yeah,
I
we'll
will.
see what happens going forward. But I mean, maybe the Jackson Dart era is just upon us now, and yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I like to see the Giants doing well and the Eagles. I mean, I get bored of the Eagles, honestly. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Hey,
But
AJ
let's
Brown pass. Oh,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No, you're
Go
good.
ahead.
Okay.
I would say on the ground
Oh,
pass, you can't give up on the route. And if you look at the highlight, he did slow down. Then when he realized, the ball was coming, he tried to pick up speed. You can't give up on the route, and that's kind of what happened on that pass. So he'll learn from that, as the game goes along. But you can't do that because that would have been a touchdown, like you said. But I'm just gonna leave it at that.
that's fair enough. Moving on to the next one. Cam Ward gets his first win of the season. I'm just gonna break this down really quickly because I think I can break down the entire game, and then I'll pass the mic off to one of you for the next one. But Eagles, I mean, sorry, not Eagles. Cardinals were, I believe, up 20-6 or 18-6. They were up by a landslide in the fourth quarter. Um, I hope my Cardinals friend isn't watching because I've been trying to console him since this loss happened. But it was an absolute team collapse. Amari DeMercado had a breakaway touchdown. He did the classic, just throw up the ball at the 1 yard line before he crosses the plane. Just always run through the finish line, not just in football, in life, guys. So that was a huge play. Then you have Jonathan Gannon on the sideline, got fined $100,000 for striking DeMercado. I think at that point that rattles the entire team. It's not something that you do in public. Take them into the blue tent, take them into the locker room, the tunnel, anywhere you think a camera's not, or just wait until the end of the game because it's not going to help DeMercado's confidence. It didn't help the Cardinals' confidence at all. And then from that point on, they made more mistakes, but at the same time, it was also really cool to see Cam Ward throw for 193 yards in the fourth quarter. Shout out to the Titans. Shout out to Titans Time podcast. Titans get the first win, and yeah, super happy for the fan base, super happy for Cam Ward. But in the interest of time, I'm just gonna move on to the next game. Commanders absolutely shut down by the Chargers. Hampton's also now on IR for the next 4 games, so that would be the earliest he can come back is week 10. We already touched on it a little bit, their offensive line problems, but Ben, floor is yours.
Yeah, it was kind of like the main focal point for me in the game. They were missing their top two tackles with Slater and Joe Alt again. But I just think, the Chargers need better quarterback play from Justin Herbert. He hasn't had a good game in a couple weeks, without mistakes that were costly to them. And obviously Hampton being out for the next couple weeks is going to be huge. Their running back room, somebody is going to need to step up in his absence because, first round draft pick, you know, it's going to be a big shoes to fill in. So, I mean, there's other pieces on this offense still, like Keenan Allen and, Johnston, but they're going to need to keep it going and hopefully, have sort of the same success that they had in the, earlier weeks. But with these injuries, it's going to be a little bit harder now.
Yeah, without a doubt. First, I'm a first start with return after missing 2 games with injury. Commanders quarterback Jay Daniels returned, helped rally his team. He finished the game with 270 total yards, a touchdown pass to Debo Samuel. Another thing, Chargers struggles. The Chargers offense was contained after the first quarter with quarterback Justin Herbert being held to just 181 passing yards. Last thing I'm gonna say is Hampton's injury, right? Ankle injury. Hampton was placed on injury reserve with the ankle injury he suffered in the third quarter after getting tangled up with Commanders defender. Season of injuries. Hampton's injury in the latest in a series of blows to the Chargers backfield, right? Fellow running back Najee Harris was lost for the season with a torn Achilles in week 3, right? That
Mm-hmm.
kills it. It's hard to come back from. Replacement options. With both Hampton and Harris out, the Chargers will turn to running backs Hassan Hawkins. I don't know how to say his first name, but Vadell to carry the load. The
Hassan
team,
Haskins and Kamani Vidal.
yeah, come on,
Got
Vidal,
you.
to carry the load. The team may also explore in outside options. So don't be surprised if they go to their practice squad if they have someone who's good enough to take that leading option. But I appreciate you picking me up on those names. But
Sure.
um, I'm a little sleepy right now. But I think the turning point for the Chargers is their running game. Just next man mentality. Those two guys are just gonna have to pick up the slack. That's just really how it is. That's really all I got.
Yeah, from what I've heard, it's going to be a pretty close to 50-50 split. Son Haskins profiles as like the goal line back. Not that he's had much success in the NFL so far. Kamani Vidal's got more. He's a faster guy, he's speedier, got that like outside running ability, and he's got the pass catching ability. So we'll see how that shakes out. I really think they're just gonna go to the pass game. I think they're gonna rely on Lad McConkey, Keenan Allen, and Quentin Johnson just way more. But the big thing is just the offensive line, and they got to keep keep the pocket clean for Justin Herbert if he's going to find all those guys downfield, and if they're going to be able to rally. Because this point, they looked like true contenders, and now they look like honestly like pretenders. But injuries are a huge thing. But they're not the only team with injuries. The 49ers have a ton of injuries. They're 4-1. So, I mean, there's lots of teams that are finding ways to win still. So like you said earlier, Michael, next man up, mentality. But last but not least, honestly, this is probably a good way to end it, at least the NFL segment. And then if you got to go, Michael, all good. But Patriots beat the Bills, primetime game. I honestly didn't get to watch this live. I went back and watched it afterwards, but from what I know, it was I think a 3-3 game at halftime. It was a lot of penalties, a lot of fumbles and turnovers. I don't know why Ramondre Stevenson isn't sitting on the bench the entire game at this point. Just let Travion Henderson free. Let that guy we saw how electric he was in the preseason. First touch as an NFL player, granted it was preseason, but 101 yards to the house, kickoff return. We've seen at Ohio State, this guy is a freak of an athlete. He can do it all. He can run outside. He can catch the ball. He can run inside as well. He's got 4.38 speed. I just don't know why they haven't let him loose. I've heard some rumors that he doesn't know the playbook well enough, which would be kind of baffling for me at this point. But apparently he has gone, when he's supposed to go right, he's gone to the left side, and silly little mental errors. But to me, I don't care. Let him figure it out on the field, because he's not fumbling the ball. That's like a little mental error is not going to cost you the game as much as losing the turnover battle. And Ramondre Stevenson, I think, has 4 turnovers now, or at least 4 at least 4 fumbles that have been recovered by the other team. I think he actually has more that maybe have been a couple recovered by the Patriots. But yeah, thoughts on that game before finish off the NFL segment. Either of you, Ben or Michael, whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, I mean, Patriots, they came up with a big division W. I feel like their defense is what won them the game. The game was pretty much close for the most part, with most of the scoring being done in the second half of the game. I think they did a good job of turning the ball over, preventing Josh Allen and, James Cook to do what they usually do. And, usually outside of that, if Coleman or Shakir doesn't really step up, or Kincaid in the mix also as well, it messes up their game a little bit for their offense, and the way they just move the ball. So I think they did a good job of that. And then obviously Stephon Diggs had a huge game there. Usually the Stephon Diggs that we're used to seeing was a veteran outing from him. He had over 130 yards, I believe, receiving. So that was a big day for him. And yeah, I think, like I said on this podcast time and time again, I think the Patriots are due to improve this year, especially in a weak AFC East division. And yeah, hopefully Mike Vrabel and Drake May can keep this ride up.
Yeah, without doubt.
A little bit.
First thing, this was a statement win for the Patriots. 23-20 victory over the Bills, who were the last undefeated team in the NFL, demonstrated the Patriots' potential and validated the new coaching scheme that's going on with the Patriots. Strong performance, quarterback Drake May's clutch play, including a game-winning drive and connection with wide receiver Stephon Diggs, who I have total respect for him after, especially the comment he made about the Saints. Bro, really, just I've had respect for Stephon Diggs for a good minute. Was crucial to that win. strong defense. The Patriots retooled the defense, stepped up, forcing key turnovers and limiting the Bills' high performance offense. Right. Um, uh, Last thing, and I'm just going to end it with this: momentum and confidence. The upset win provided a significant confidence boost as former Patriots quarterback Ty Law believes they have a realistic shot at the AFC East title. Like you said, Benji, the AFC East is kind of weak right now. So I think the Patriots can take the AFC title and just have a lot because it just seems like the other teams in that division are not it right now.
Yeah, the Patriots. I had them as a top 15. First time I have them as a top 15 this year in the power rankings. I want to see it another couple of weeks, and then they'll easily be a top 10 team. But I mean, you beat the team that I had as the best team in football going into the week very impressively. Like you said, did it with defense. Stephon Diggs too. A lot of people don't know, but the reason he hadn't done so well this far in the season is because he wasn't getting snaps. They're easing him back into injury or easing him back into the fold after injury. And Diggs came through both in week 4 and week 5. He's still only getting like 65% of snaps, so that's probably going to go up to like the 75% level that you see from starters. And then from that point, I think he's going to be a star for the Bills. And also a little revenge, or sorry, for the Patriots. Also a little revenge game against the Bills. He's also the one time he played the Vikings in a revenge game, he also starred. But yeah, unless you have any finishing thoughts, I appreciate you, Michael. I can wrap up the MLB and NHL segment.
Yeah, I'm just basically gonna say, looking ahead, the Patriots are in prime position to capitalize on this momentum in their upcoming games against teams like, um, you know, I mean, with potential of even though regardless of their records, but still can be a competitive game like us, with the Saints. We played them Sunday, and the Tennessee Titans, who are finding their way just like we are. And I'm gonna end it with this, and then I'm gonna be out y'all way. This win also enhances their chances in ESPN playoffs modules, which saw a significant jump after the victory. Like I said, this is a statement victory for the Patriots, especially against a team like the Bills, who was very tough, but we found ways to compete with them when we played them down there in Buffalo. So this just basically shows you that the Patriots are not a team to sleep on, and I'm even though we ain't played them yet, I'm still kind of like my odds are very high, with us playing in this coming up Sunday, regardless if it's in the dome or not. I just think that May and Stephon Diggs and the whole Patriots team in general, they're gonna give us a tough show, but it really depends on Cullen Moore and how he leads this offense and Spencer Rattler how to perform and if the defense can continue to play like they played last week. But Adam, it's been a pleasure being back on here. It's been I feel
Great
like
to have you.
I've been off, but I'm just grateful to be back on here, and best of luck to the Seahawks in this season. Hopefully, y'all get the win against the Jaguars, and don't know
Gonna
where
be a
my guy,
tough one.
but best of luck to him and the Jets. They're gonna get their first win. It's just a matter of when, but I think they'll get their first win because I have a huge total respect for Aaron Glenn because he was our cornerbacks coach, and he has the potential of leading a team without a doubt. But all right, I'm out.
I appreciate you, and yeah, I mean, keep up. I know you've been busy, but you're killing it with the HBCU segments with Deuce, so keep that up. Anyone that hasn't been checking those out, go and check them out.
Please
They're
do.
awesome. They're breaking down and hitting a niche that not many people are talking about, and it deserves to be talked about as well. So,
I appreciate that, and
yep.
also I'm gonna say this last thing. I want to appreciate y'all for getting me to the 1K club. I am truly grateful, and I am super excited to officially be a part of the 1K club, especially in this podcast team. I'm just I'm just super grateful for all you guys, for your love and support for the MST brand, and what the stakes are. I'm not doing this for followers. I'm doing this for help the educated, help the uneducated, because we're going in step in the right direction, but now we're shooting for 5K, and I think we can get there. But the only way we're going to get there is for your support, and I appreciate y'all for trusting me, and working with me. I'm not perfect, but I appreciate you guys so much for your love and support. But I'm
Appreciate you too,
out.
bro. You
Continue
have a
on,
good
bro.
you have a good rest of your night, man. Thank you so much for joining.
Love y'all. Grace. Peace.
Take it easy. All right. So, last one standing. But I'm going to do a little MLB roundup of the playoffs so far. First of all, Blue Jays first to clinch the ALCS, or first to clinch the conference series in either conference. Huge performances, and Yankees were able to rally for one game. But then the Blue Jays come back last night, shut down the Yankees. Sorry to Yankees fans, but Vladimir Guerrero is definitely the Yankees' daddy, and Vladimir Guerrero, he's the hottest hitter in baseball right now. If my Mariners can get there, I'm gonna be at the game tomorrow, so I'm just hoping and praying I can witness some history. It'll be the first ALCS, I believe, since 2006, when they walked it off in Game 5. So I'm really hoping that I can witness that. And but if we get there, the Blue Jays are going to be a really tough test. And yeah, shout out to my relatives who are Blue Jays fans, and shout out to all the Blue Jays fans who also haven't been in the ALCS for I think since 2016, if I'm correct. So yeah, huge performance from Vladdy, from the entire team. They're also missing Bo Bichette, so everyone had to step up. Bo Bichette's one of their best players. So and shout out to Trey Yace. I'm gonna butcher it, but they're just calling him the Savage. Yasavage, I think it is, or Yasavage. But he's been an absolute killer, rookie, and he's been destroying it in the playoffs so far. So again, shout out to the Blue Jays. Next, Mariners and Tigers. We're heading for a decisive Game 5. Tigers won Game 1. And then Mariners were able to come back in Game 2 and 3 and win in decisive fashion. Unfortunately, Game 4 didn't really go the Mariners' way. It looked so good originally. We were up 3-0, and looked like we were gonna head to a 3-1 Game 4 win, or sorry, 3-1 series win in Game 4. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was unfortunately the Tigers were able to rally and get 9 straight runs. I love Randy Rosarina, but it was the second time in the series that he took a terrible angle on the play. Ball got by him, ended up giving them an extra base, got the whole dugout going, got their whole team going because of that. And then the next play, they get 2 runs, and then they didn't look back after that. But yeah, the Mariners had all of their leverage pitchers in there as well, and they got smacked as well. So now the momentum's in the Tigers' favor, but we do get to go back home where we have been very good this season. So I hope the Mariners can rally, and hope we can get the Game 5. And then real quick, Dodgers take the first 2 on the road in Philadelphia, and then Phillies were able to come back and win Game 3. So that one is, last I checked, the Phillies are up 1-0. So that is also a very close series that could end up going to Game 5. Last but not least, Brewers held steady at home. They were not a big home run hitting team in the regular season, but came up with, I believe, with 2 3-run home runs in Game 1. And yeah, they're clicking on all cylinders. The Cubs were able to come back last night. I believe it was 4-3 Cubs victory. So that's another close series. I think that's another one that's happening tonight, Game 4. So we'll see. We got a lot of close series. The Blue Jays, like I said, they're the only team that's on to the conference round so far. So very exciting playoffs. If you haven't tuned in, if you don't like baseball, just check it out, because it's a very special race this year. And should the Mariners and Brewers get to the World Series, then we could see a first-time World Series winner as well. So just moving into, I just got a quick little NHL and NBA. NHL season is upon us. I'm gonna focus on my Leafs. Got my jersey right up there, and yeah, they were down two. They took a 1-0 lead within 1 minute of the game. Then the Canadians were able to tie it up. Canadians were able to get a second goal, and then Leafs came all the way back to win 5-2. Granted, two were open net goals at the end, but they were able to come back, tie it up, get the 3-2 lead, and then get the crucial empty netters at the end. So shout out to Morgan Riley for having a great game offensively and defensively. Shout out to William Nylander for getting the first goal. And then shout out to Callie Yarncroke, who's drawn some hate in the last few years, but and played a career low in games last year, but he was able to get a crucial goal, and yeah, probably the reason the Maple Leafs are able to win. So shout out to him. And also shout out to Anthony Stolars, led the NHL in goals save percentage last year, save percentage. Yeah, he looked great. Gave up 2 goals, but overall, you can do that in hockey. Especially with the Leafs' high-powered offense, you're gonna win a lot of games. If you've never watched NHL before, check it out. Hockey's awesome. Very fast-paced, heavy hits. Players dropping the gloves to actually fight a guy, which you don't see in any other sport unless you're watching MMA or boxing. Goaltending's great. It's a really fun game to watch. And yeah, moving into the NBA, we're just a few weeks away. Very excited to start my first Dynasty basketball league this year. And the biggest news so far came out today. LeBron's going to be out 3 to 4 weeks with sciatica on the right side. So, big blow to the Lakers, but I already had Luka picked as an early MVP favorite. So, Skinny Luka, as they're calling him, got fit in the offseason. He's going to have to look great, and we'll see how DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Smart, and Jake LaRavia, and some of the other free agent acquisitions will look. Maybe we see Bronny James emerge this year if he gets regular minutes. But yeah, I'm very excited for the NBA season. And I mean, early favorites got to be the Oklahoma City Thunder, but there's quite a few teams with a lot of chances. Houston Rockets getting Kevin Durant. They're one of the best defensive teams. They were the 2 seed going to the playoffs last year. So they're definitely going to be in the mix. Denver Nuggets going to be in the mix. Lakers, if they can, if Luka plays like an MVP and LeBron comes back healthy and the whole squad rounds into form. East is wide open. You got to throw the Knicks in there. Pacers probably not. Missing Tyrese Halliburton for the entire season, but I'll throw the Orlando Magic in the mix on the East side. But I mean, really anyone could come out of the East. Giannis is probably going to be missing quite a few players, but at the same time, Giannis carried them to a title on his own practically. Chris Middleton was very good that year that he won the title, but that being said, yeah, like I said, the East is wide open, so very exciting. But thank you so much for joining me. This was another episode of Inside the Locker Room. Maybe we'll get the full 4 of us back together soon. Everyone's just been really busy. We got a lot of conflicting schedules and time zones, but thank you for bearing with us. This was episode 26. Until next time, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to us on YouTube. You can find us at Inside the Locker Room TV on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. You can find me at Adam B Sports on all of those same platforms. Ben earlier, that's NFL Playmakers with a Z. And then Michael Sports Talk. And then shout out to Deuce, even though he wasn't able to be here as well. Sports Talks with Deuce is his handle. So check us out, give us a follow. Appreciate all of the love and support. And be safe out there, everyone. It's a crazy world we live in.